How's it going, everybody? Freewheeler living here. Thought I'd bring you a little video today. Not on the trike today. It says it's 46 degrees outside. Really didn't feel like bundling up. I do have heated gear where I can ride all year round if I want to. I really didn't feel like doing that today. Plus, this video is kind of a short video. Just wanted to bring you some of the pros and cons that I have found owning a Freewheeler. We'll start out with some of the cons, and I wrote some of these down because I can't really remember them, and I'm probably, when I get done with this video, I'll remember two of them that I should have put on here. But one of the cons that I have with it is the main one, and is that they are expensive. They are very expensive. For what it is, it costs too much money. Now, don't get me wrong, I actually love my Freewheeler, but for the price I paid for it, no. I almost could have had a Corvette. Wife don't want me to have one of them, but I do. No, really though, they are very expensive for what you get, considering the Tri-Glide, which is not very much more cost-wise. You get more, you get electronics on it, and you get the fairing, you get the whole 9 yards. It's a big trunk in the back and everything. The Freewheeler, it's just, all it is a motorcycle with two wheels on the back. Nothing fancy about it for the price that is. Another con that I have with it is the stupid reverse motor that they have on there. That thing, when you put it in reverse, sounds like you're murdering the bike. It really does. It's an awful noise that it makes, and it really is not very powerful at all. If you're on any kind of an incline or in grass, it's really hard to back up on that little starter motor is all it is. So I really don't like it. Luckily, I've had no issues with it. I have read a lot of people, theirs keeps popping a breaker on it, and they have to keep taking the side panel off the trike and resetting the breaker on it. Luckily, I haven't had that problem, but I do try to park where I don't have to back out as much as possible. And if I do have to back out, I try to make it to where I don't have to back out very long. Maybe hit the reverse for about 4 seconds maybe, and then I'm clear. So I really wish Harley-Davidson would have put a better reverse motor on them things. You can get an aftermarket reverse kit that goes on the side that hooks up to your transmission, but I really don't want to tinker with the transmission like that. Plus, that's $1,500, and I really don't want to drop $1,500 on something like that when I've already paid over $30,000 for the trike. Another major con that I have against the Freewheeler, and this goes for the Tri-Glide as well. Matter of fact, so far, all the cons go for the Tri-Glide as well. It does not have independent suspension in the rear. Now, that would make the ride a heck of a lot more comfortable for the passenger. Me being up in the middle, I'm kind of in the middle of the pivot point. So some of the bumps do affect me, but not nearly as bad as how they affect the passenger that's on the back. But if they did have independent suspension on them, I do believe it would be a lot better ride quality. And you can get aftermarket shocks and adjust your tire pressure, and the factory suspension does have an adjustment on there, but it really doesn't do that well. And plus, I don't want to have to go spend money to put independent suspension on the back when it should have come with it to begin with. Harley-Davidson really need to do something about that. Another con that I have, which really I wouldn't say is much of a con. It depends on where you're parking or storing your Freewheeler. They take up a lot of room. They take up a lot of room in your garage. We barely got both of our cars, the ride mower and the trike, to fit in the garage. Now being this time of year, it really don't matter much because I can park it up in the front and leave it there and not worry about it. Now, during the springtime, stuff like that, when riding season really starts, it's kind of a hassle. You got to back the car out, push it out, pull the car back in, and so forth. I really don't want to leave it out in the weather anymore. I did that for about the first 9 months that I had it, and I hated that. I had a cover for it, and it's a hassle to throw a cover over that thing and keep it covered, when you're not riding it. Another con, they use the trunk as a selling point. That, this trike has a trunk on a 2 cubic foot trunk. It's nice to have that 2 cubic foot trunk. You can go to the grocery store, get a handful of groceries. But they say that you can put 2 full face helmets in there. No, you can't. The way that trunk is shaped on the inside, it has a bump out in there for the big flywheel that's on the rear axle, and that intrudes into your trunk space, and you cannot fit 2 full-face helmets back there. Which, to me, that's really a downfall when, you know, me and my wife are riding most of the time. Another con, this trike is very heavy. I believe it says it's 1,100 pounds curb weight, dry. So without fuel, oil, all that good stuff in it. So you figure with the oil and the fuel, you're looking at maybe 1,150. But that's very heavy, which really don't matter too much. But when you're trying to push it around in a garage to store it or to rearrange it a little bit, it gets kind of hard to do that. And another con, which really isn't a con, but it is when you pay over $30,000 for a motorcycle or a trike, I consider it a con then, is the accessories. The accessories are expensive. They say HD, Harley Davidson HD, it's $100. Every time you go in there, it's going to cost you $100. Now, a lot of people like the accessories, and I like accessories. Don't get me wrong, I like making my bike look like mine. But the accessories are expensive, and there's so many of them. But that's about really all the cons I can think of off the top of my head here, just real quick. Like I said, I've got some written down, and I know I'll think of some more when this video is over. But now I want to go over some of the pros that I found. One, and the main one that I like the most, that thing's a hell of a lot of fun to ride. Me and my wife love it. We do a lot of riding in the spring, summer, and fall. If I'm off at a certain time, we pack up a lunch and we'll ride out somewhere and have lunch together. It's a blast to ride. It really, really is. A lot of people don't respect the trike. You know, it's not a real motorcycle, and technically it's not. It's a 3-wheeler. But once you ride one, you'll fall in love with it. They're an absolute blast to ride. And if you rode 3-wheelers and 4-wheelers growing up, hopping on one of them and riding it is basically like second nature. It's really easy to ride. Another pro, I don't have to put my feet down and worry about balance at a stoplight or a stop sign. Now I do still have to make sure I keep brake on, or keep a little bit of keep the clutch in the friction zone a little bit if I'm on a little bit of an incline. But other than that, I don't have to put my feet down at the stoplight. Another pro that I have goes kind of along with the first one of being fun to ride. They're easy to ride. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, you don't have to lean, or, you know, blah, 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 blah. You do lean a little bit. It's kind of, it's natural to you when you're going in a corner, like people in cars. You see people driving cars, they go around a curve, you see them leaning in their car. Same thing on the trike. You do lean a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with that, because you're throwing that center of gravity inside that curve. That way it keeps you from tipping over. Now, I've not even come close to tipping over. It does have the traction control and the RDRS, I think is what it's called. I don't remember for sure. But it cuts power to the motor if it feels a wheel come off the ground or anything like that. So that's a good system to have. A lot of people don't like that system. I do. It's just there to protect me. And another pro is it's very comfortable and very easy for a passenger to ride. And that's one of the reasons why we went from 2 wheels to 3 wheels, is my wife really wasn't comfortable on 2 wheels. And it wasn't due to my riding ability, which a little bit was. I wasn't real comfortable on 2 wheels with my wife on there. But that's why we went to 3 wheels. More fun for my wife. She can sit back there and she can move around. She can do whatever she wants to do. And it's not going to affect my ability to keep the trike straight going down the road. Another pro is you can ride in just about any weather. Now, I like riding all year round. Doesn't bother me. Like I said, I've got heated gear. But when it comes to raining, I don't worry about it. When it's cold out, maybe below freezing, maybe a little snow on the ground, doesn't bother me one bit. I'm not worried about it at all. I've got the 3 wheels to keep me stable on the road. I just have to be aware of my front tire, because with having that slick front tire on the front, you can tend to turn and just keep going straight. But the 3-wheel, you've got a little more stability there for riding in different types of weather. And the last pro that I can think of off the top of my head, The rear tires are car tires. Basically, they're car tires. And you've got a lot of options for different types of rims and tires that you can put on there. As long as it's not too big to hit the fenders, you can pretty much put any kind of tire and any kind of rim on there you want. Like I said, multitude of options for tires and rims. Right now, I've got just the factory tires and rims on there. I don't plan on changing the rims. If I do, I'd end up going to a lighter rim. Other than that, I'm not too much worried about them. Well, that's about all the pros and cons I can kind of come up with just real quick. If you've got any pros and cons you'd like to share, drop it down in the comments below, and we'll talk about them in another video. If you like this kind of content, like, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you can be notified for my future uploads. Until then, you guys stay safe.